Welcome back to the Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday episodes. I'll be your host today. My name's Aman, and we're going to talk about the Bengals Ravens game last night from Thursday Night Football. React to that, react to the state of the AFC North and NFL playoff picture because we're more than halfway into the season. Playoffs will start like sooner than we think. And so now you're gonna get my reflection to everything, but let's first look. Like we got Browns losing Deshaun Watson for the rest of the season. They don't have a decent quarterback currently that could potentially allow them to make a run in the playoffs. And so now you got them Bengals potentially losing Joe Burrow to a wrist injury because apparently he had it early on in the game, so the NFL is launching an investigation into that because he was never listed on an injury report. They said he was completely healthy, and I feel like Burrow's been mismanaged all season. You got Jamar Chase early on in the season telling Joe Burrow, like, if you're not healthy, I don't want you out there because there's no point. And he was out there on a calf injury. And the Bengals started off 0-3, then became 5-3, and now lost to the Texans, and yesterday losing to the Ravens. And so now you got that. The Ravens losing Mark Andrews. That's such a devastating injury for anyone all season, but especially for the Ravens. You got J.K. Dobbins out with a season-ending Achilles injury. That happened week 2. They've managed all season. They've been doing so well all season. And now Mark Andrews, this is another huge loss for them. Isaiah Likely will hopefully step in, fill that role as much as he can. Because Mark Andrews, it's Kelsey, Kittle, and then him just being mentioned as the top tight ends in the league every season. There's no way you can dispute that at all. And so you lose him for the season. Lamar Jackson, even has an ankle injury, he's still going to play. That's not going to stop him. But the AFC North is still wide open. Like the Steelers are somehow afloat while their offense has been outgained every season or every game this season and has still managed to get a winning record. The Ravens 8-3, Steelers and Browns 6-3, Bengals 5-5. And so now with that, a Ravens loss, a Steelers Browns win, then all of a sudden the Ravens are the third seed in the AFC North. And if we look at the NFL playoff picture, the AFC North currently has 3 teams that would go to the playoffs. The Bengals, they're currently the 10th seed. The teams above them, Raiders got the Dolphins, the Colts are on a bye. And the Steelers, I don't know how they've managed to keep afloat. Their schedule coming up, actually against the divisional opponents, Browns, Bengals, and then Cardinals should be a win. I don't know if they'll be outgained again that game. Then it's the Patriots, Colts, Bengals, Seahawks, and then the Ravens to finish the season. Half those teams can easily outgain them. Struggling offense, but their defense, TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, like have your pick at Defensive Player of the Year because they're both on a tear. They're both the reason why those teams have a winning record. Because the Browns 6-3. I don't think we expected them to be 6-3, potentially like 4-5, like on the bubble, like the Bengals. But the Bengals' slow start to the season is really catching up to them, and especially if Joe Burrow misses a long amount of time, it's going to be such a huge gut punch because they were on a nice streak, 5-game winning streak, and then you lose to the Texans. CJ Stroud at this point a lock for Offensive Rookie of the Year, being mentioned in MVP conversations as a rookie. He's just off to an amazing start. These are the same Houston Texans where people are like, we're going to march into Houston, get a guaranteed win, or we're going to get a guaranteed win against them. They're not those Texans anymore. Same way the Lions are not a guaranteed win anymore over in the NFC. The Lions, they're a really dangerous team. They got the two-headed monster in Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, and then they just have insane skilled players, of course, in Amon-Ra St. Brown, Josh Reynolds, Jameson Williams. But Jared Goff, he's like silencing a lot of doubters because obviously Stafford won his Super Bowl finally in LA the first season he got there, struggled since, and now you got Jared Goff absolutely balling for the Lions. I don't see how you don't give the coach of the year to Dan Campbell. We talked about in the previous episode over on Spotify and Apple. So if you want to hear our thoughts with the NFL midseason award and everything, go to the previous episode. There will likely be a new episode coming up tomorrow. So look forward to that. But you got the Lions balling out, and so we go to the NFC playoff picture. You got the Eagles, Lions, 49ers, Saints, Seahawks, Cowboys, Vikings in that order. Buccaneers are on the bubble, so are the Commanders, Falcons, Packers, Rams, Bears, Giants, Cardinals, and of course the Panthers are last. The Buccaneers, they'll probably fall. I don't see them beating the 49ers. The 49ers, I mean, Chase Young just put like defibs on that defense, it seems like, and they just exploded against the Jaguars. Steve Wilkes being on the sideline, you get that leadership on the sideline. I think that probably made a difference. And now you can change the defensive schemes that you were running because Chase Young left end, then you got Javon Hargrave, Nick Bosa, Javon Kinlaw, Eric Armstead. Like that D line is just insane, and they still have somehow one of the highest cap spaces in the league. You're gonna have to eventually play Kittle, Chase Young, and Brock Purdy, but I mean, you've got like these selfless stars. They're gonna restructure contract. Like they care about the team. Kittle's not that type of player to hold out either. So Kittle is gonna take what the Niners can offer him, I feel like. And so we got that. The Eagles, if the Niners or Lions have any shot at getting the 1 seed, you gotta hope for an Eagles loss against the Chiefs. Like I'm seeing right now on my screen, the Lions are playing the Bears and the Niners are playing the Buccaneers. Those are likely wins for both of those teams. I'd be surprised if they lost because I think the 49ers are at home. I'm not too sure about that. I'll fact check that later. But I mean, that still doesn't matter. 49ers should easily beat the Buccaneers. Lions should beat the Bears. And so, I mean, you got that race going on in the NFC, but the Ravens, I don't know if they can keep it up. Isaiah Likely is still a great tight end to have. Like, they did well drafting him. And so now Lamar Jackson, he'll be forced to throw more because even though, like, we know his talent as a rushing quarterback, you might not have that deep threat like Mark Andrews or just that consistent pass catcher like Mark Andrews. Even though Zay Flowers has stepped up, OBJ just got his 100-yard receiving game for the first time since he was with the Rams. So you got that. Teams are going to expect him to run and maybe as a result force Lamar to throw more. And obviously now they'll heavily rely on the run game. Gus Edwards has been a touchdown machine. And then you got Keaton Mitchell, Justice Hill, and then of course Lamar Jackson. So still an elite rushing attack, but you gotta hope teams don't start expecting that more now that Mark Andrews is likely out for the season. Just such a devastating injury for him. And so the Ravens, as of now, they're still one of the best teams in the league, but they gotta hope they don't string together losses because somehow the Steelers are on their tail. Browns will have to rely on their rookie quarterback, and you gotta hope if you're a Bengals fan or even like Bengals players coaching staff, you gotta hope this Joe Burrow injury is not serious because I mean, if he did have it earlier in the week, no one was aware of it because he wasn't on the injury report. And so we'll see what the result is once the NFL releases their investigation into the matter. And so that could be devastating for the Bengals. The Ravens, I believe, even before the season, I believe we're going to win the division. And the Ravens do have sort of a tricky schedule. You got the Chargers, who are very inconsistent, the Rams, the Jaguars, 49ers, Dolphins, and Steelers. So now you have to play teams 4 weeks in a row with a winning record, so you gotta hope you avoid a losing streak in that sense. But that is my reflection on the NFL playoff picture currently and how the Ravens stand after losing to Mark Andrews, their starting tight end. Well, with that, thanks for tuning in to Friday's episode. See you on Monday, or actually tomorrow, over on Apple and Spotify.